Welcome to Movie Caps. Today, I will show you a psychological thriller from 2010, titled Shutter Island. Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. Two federal marshals, Teddy Daniels and Chuck Alley, are sent to Ashcliff Hospital, located on Shutter Island on Boston Harbor, to investigate the disappearance of a patient, Rachel Solano.
You're right, we've all seen these movies before. Let's see, look at this
recaps. Today I will show you a 2019 comedy film, titled Son of a Rich. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care.
Go watch it then.
During their first interaction, Chuck asks about Teddy's family, and learns that his wife, Dolores Chanel, was killed during a fire at their apartment. Upon arriving there, Deputy McPherson receives them, and tells them about different wards including Ward C, which houses the most dangerous and insane criminals. He also briefs them that the ward is off limits for anyone, without prior permission from the head Dr. John Colley. In the doctor's office, Teddy questions him about Rachel Solano. John tells him that she was brought in, after she drowned her 3 children in the lake, while her husband was serving in Normandy. During the conversation, Teddy, who was already seasick, starts experiencing headaches, but John offers him medicine for his comfort. The marshals are later taken to Rachel's room, but they can't find anything noticeable, except a note that reads the Law of 4, who is 67. John recognizes her handwriting, but has no idea about what she tried to explain. Teddy then requests him to allow him to have a look at the staff records. John declines his request, but reluctantly agrees to call a meeting in the common room after dinner. While searching the island, Teddy spots some caves and a lighthouse, but McPherson tells there are no chances of Rachel being there, as it's impossible to reach the caves, while the lighthouse only serves as the sewage treatment facility. Their meeting with the staff also does not prove to be a big help, as they only find out about Dr. Sheehan, Rachel's primary doctor. Teddy requests a meeting with him, but is told that he has already left for a vacation. At night, when it starts to rain, Colley takes them to his mansion, and introduces them to his colleague Dr. Jeremiah Naring. While talking to them, Naring reveals they were involved in some sort of violent activities, and Teddy remembers shooting an officer during his service, after he was found involved in mass killings of innocent people, at the concentration camps. Teddy once again requests access to staff files, but argues with them as they refuse to comply, and decides to put an end to the investigation. After coming back from the mansion, he keeps thinking about Rachel's escape, but cannot figure out how she did it without any help. He also tells Chuck that he has no plan to go back, and was just bluffing, to force Colley to cooperate with them. Later, while asleep, he has disturbing dreams about Dolores, who tells him that Rachel is still there, because she never actually left, and mentions another guy, Andrew Laddis, asking Teddy to find him as well. The next morning, he questions Dr. John about Rachel's condition, and learns that she was given pills to suppress her violent side, but they were only effective for a short time. After a brief discussion, Teddy has an investigation session with other patients, where one of them writes a secret note in his diary. He asks her about Andrew Laddis, but she denies knowing anything about him. Chuck later asks Teddy about Andrew, because he was constantly trying to find some information about him. Teddy reveals he was the maintenance man at his apartment building, and was responsible for setting up the fire that killed Dolores. He further says that Andrew was mentally unstable, as he also set the school on fire, and claimed that voices in his head asked him to do it. He was kept at the state prison, before being taken to Ashcliff, but there is no record of him now. Both marshals go to the cemetery in search of Rachel, where Teddy shows him the note from the patient, asking them to run from the facility. As they are forced to take refuge inside an old building, due to a thunderstorm, Chuck asks if Teddy is here to kill Andrew, but he says he has already killed many people, and does not want to include another person on the list. Teddy remembers his operation for the liberation of concentration camps, where his team killed several German troops, who were responsible for multiple deaths. He also reveals he has been investigating Ashcliff, which is believed to be a place where different psychological experiments are performed. He tells him about a guy named George Noyce, who had spent some time in the facility, and leaked the information to him. After listening to him, Chuck realizes it can be a trap, as he was given the same case he was already trying to get involved in. He also tells him that there is no way any patient can escape through such high security, and the entire Rachel incident seems to be pre-planned, to lure him to the island. They realize they are in serious trouble, but before they can figure out anything, McPherson arrives to pick them up.
Huh? Wait, real? Real?
And takes them back to the building. They go to Colley's mansion to talk to him, where Teddy hears the discussion, and learns there are 66 patients in different wards. He believes Rachel pointed out to patient 67, who is yet to be disclosed. As Dr. Naring makes fun of his assumptions, Teddy tells him he is just trying to do his job, but gets surprised as Dr. John tells him that Rachel has been found. They are taken to her room for the investigation, but she has no clue about where she went. After meeting her, they come back to Kali's office, where Teddy has another migraine attack, and is forced to take the medicine. At night, his nightmares continue, when he sees his wife, as well as Rachel along with her deceased children. When he wakes up and spots a disturbance, Chuck tells him about a failure in the backup generator that made everyone furious. After learning that the electronic security systems have been compromised, they decide to take advantage of the situation and sneak into Ward C for further investigation. Inside the ward, Teddy spots Andrew Laadis and tries to talk to him, but he attacks him, while saying that he does not want to leave this place, because there is nothing for him in the outside world. In response to his attack, Teddy fights back, but is interrupted by the security guard and Chuck, who take Laadis with them. While looking around the place, he spots many dangerous criminals locked up in their cells. He also spots George Noyce, who holds him responsible for his imprisonment, but warns him about Chuck, while asking him not to believe anyone at this place. He also claims that there are some experiments going on in the lighthouse, and fears he might be another test subject. As he talks to him, Chuck arrives and urges him to go back to their ward, before anyone finds out about them. Upon his suggestion, they decide to go to the lighthouse, but realize they have taken the wrong route, and might have to go back to the main building. As they stand there thinking about the solution, Chuck tells him about finding an intake document about patient 67, but Teddy ignores it, thinking he is just trying to distract him. After arguing over whether they should go down or not, Teddy goes alone. He cannot make it there due to a high tide, and is forced to return, but there are no signs of Chuck anywhere. He then sees Chuck's body near the water, but realizes it was just an illusion of the rocks.
Wait, what?
Although he does not find Chuck, he spots a cave, where he comes across a woman, who is apparently the real Rachel Solando. She tells him she was one of the leading doctors before coming to the facility, and discovered experiments with psychotropic medication, and transorbital lobotomy, in an attempt to develop mind control techniques. Teddy questions her about her children, but she reveals it's just a story, and she has no kids. She reveals if they can succeed in reprogramming the mind, they can turn humans into emotionless creatures, who can aid in executing horrific crimes. She tells him he won't be able to leave the island, and asks if he had any tragedy in his life. When Teddy tells her about his wife's accident, Rachel suspects they will use the incident to prove him insane, so he can be kept at Ashcliff. Upon her question, Teddy confirms having nightmares and migraine attacks, to which she reveals they have been giving him drugs, through his food, drinks, medicine, and the cigarette, and he might start developing symptoms in the next few hours. He changes the subject, and asks about the lighthouse. Rachel confirms Dr. Kali and his colleagues have been doing brain surgeries there. After the discussion, she asks him to leave, as she cannot risk her location. He assures Rachel to take her out of this place, but she tells him it's impossible, because they control the ferries, and no one can leave without their consent. After coming back to the main area, he is picked up by a security guard, who is revealed to be the victim of these experiments, as he keeps talking in favor of the violence. Coming back, he asks Dr. Kali about Chuck, but he denies his presence, and tells Teddy came alone. The doctor then asks if he wants to leave this place, as Rachel has been found, so they can send him back by the next ferry.
Sure.
After satisfying him with his conversation, Teddy tries to escape, but learns they might have taken Chuck to the lighthouse, so he decides to go there in search of him. He runs into Dr. Naring, who attempts to stab him with a sedative-loaded syringe. Teddy overpowers him, stabbing him with the syringe and sedating him. He distracts the guards by setting Kali's car on fire, and sneaks out to get to the lighthouse, but gets shocked to see Dr. Kali already there. After inviting him to have a chat with him, Kali calls Dr. Sheehan, who is apparently back from his vacation. When Teddy confronts him about the drugs, while explaining his encounter with Solando, Kali denies her existence, and explains that his condition is due to withdrawal from chlorpromazine, which they have been giving him for the last 24 months. The doctor also reveals, the names Edward Daniel and Rachel Solando, are the anagrams of Andrew Laadis and Dolores Chanel, while the girl appearing in his dreams is actually his daughter, Rachel. He tells him, that Teddy is patient number 67, whose real name is Andrew Laadis, but he does not want anyone to know, and he had attacked George twice after he called him by this name. Soon, Dr. Sheehan arrives in the office, but Teddy gets shocked to see Chuck, who is revealed to be his primary doctor. Seeing his disbelief, Kali tells him they were playing along with his self-made story, because they wanted to take him out of his insanity. While listening to them, Teddy passes out, overwhelmed by the memories of what really happened. He wakes up in the ward, surrounded by Dr. Kali, Dr. Sheehan, and the rest of the staff. When questioned, he speaks in a coherent manner, to satisfy the doctors, saying he was serving his sentence for killing Dolores. Dr. Kali warns him this will be his last chance to accept their version of the truth, otherwise, they will have to lobotomize him. Some time later, Teddy relaxes on the hospital grounds with Dr. Sheehan, but calls him Chuck again, saying they must leave the island. Dr. Sheehan says he is still living in his story, and signals to Dr. Kali to tell him there is no improvement in his condition. And Teddy is taken away to be lobotomized. Before leaving peacefully, Teddy asks Chuck if it would be worse to live as a monster, or to die as a good man? As he starts walking away, Chuck calls him Teddy, but he does not respond, suggesting Teddy is voluntarily submitting to a lobotomy. The end. Thank you for watching.
No!
Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications and leave a like to help the channel out.
No!